Special for New South Wales, Roshan Anthony, representing Grace College this morning, Marini Gunasekera, and Australian Panel Chambers of Commerce, Anton Fernando. Thank you so much. We are and standing for the two national anthems.
Sri Lanka Mata, Apa Sri Lanka, Namo 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 Mata, Sundara Sili Bahini, Surani Ati Sobamala Lanka, Ranya Kalaya Bekamal Malatulu Kirikaya Bumi Ranya, Bahata Sampa Sili Senta Sadana, Jivana Ye Mata, Pilihan Lumena Apa Bhakti Puja, Namo Namo Mata, Apa Sri Lanka, Namo 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 Mata, Upawe Apa Vidya, Upawe Apa Satya, Upawe Apa Sakti, Apa Bhagavata Damti, Apa Aloke, Apa Ge Anuprane, Apa Jivanage, Apa Mukti Upawe, Nama Jivana Demine, Nandila Apa Pembulu Keran Mata, Ada Bila Ada Baginda Regina Yang Penda Jaya Bumi Kara, Reka Mala Tege Dalu Kala Berina, Yamu Yamu Mino
Please take your seats. Acknowledging the traditional owners of lands of Auspicial, the Darak and the Goringai people as traditional custodians of the land we are gathered today, and pay respect to their ancestors and elders past, present, and to their heritage. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Ayubowan and Vanakkam. A very warm welcome to each and every one of you on this beautiful morning, specially organized for IHC. Ladies and gentlemen, some housekeeping rules just to... In his inaugural speech in 1961, President John F. Kennedy urges American citizens to participate in a public service and ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Let's set the tone for today. Let's welcome back the community and what we can do for our motherland. It is both an honor and privilege to stand before you today and on behalf of the Sri Lanka Association of New South Wales to extend a heartfelt welcome to Her Excellency, High Commissioner of Sri Lanka to Australia, Yasoja Gunasekera, and the esteemed members of her diplomatic team. Welcome to you. We have from that team Mr. UTC Aberatna, Minister, Captain Lanka Disanayaka, Consular Defence, and Mr. Mano Jamal-Singha, Consular Officer, and Ruan Ranatunga with us. We are privileged indeed to have you. Your Excellency, we are truly grateful for your presence here today and for your continued commitment to strengthening the bridge between Sri Lanka and Australia. Today is not just a ceremonial gathering. Today is a celebration of unity, shared purpose, and hope. We also take this opportunity to warmly welcome the business and the community leaders present here. And we also have your alma mater from your school, Ladies College, representing with 4 tables, the Erin song. And of course, we have distinguished teacher, Marini Gunawardana, here with us as well, leading the team here. And of course, we have the chartered accountants. They got a group here as well. So there's wonderful community spirit. It's all about community today. Your continued engagement and support are essential pillars in our collective journey to make a difference. Your Excellency, as a community, we are not simply here to help individuals. We are here to give back to our beloved homeland, Sri Lanka. And we are proud to do so under your capable, visionary leadership. Through collaboration, respect, and shared values, we believe we can help steer Sri Lanka towards a brighter and more prosperous future. We do not shy away from acknowledging the challenges our nation has endured over the past few years. Economic instability, social unrest, and the hardship faced by millions of Sri Lankans, both at home and in the diaspora. It has been a testing time for all of us, emotionally and collectively. And yet, in the face of adversity, we have seen resilience, strength, and unshakable will to rebuild by our people. Today, with President Anurakkumara Disanayaka now leading the country, there is renewed optimism. There is sense that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, a chance to reset, to heal, and to reimagine the future of our beloved nation, Sri Lanka. We understand that we may have differences of opinion when it comes to governance or policy, and that's natural in any democratic society. But today is not about politics. Today is all about purpose. So let us put aside our individual differences and stand together as one community united in our commitment to help Sri Lanka thrive, and that's the only thing. Let this be the beginning of renewed spirits of partnership. Let us work hand in hand with Her Excellency and her team to establish and grow the Australia-Sri Lanka Business Forums and encourage joint ventures, promote bilateral trade, and support education, innovation, cultural exchange between our two great nations. Your Excellency, once again, we welcome you with open hearts. We look forward to working with you to build a legacy of collaboration, impact, and unity for our community here in Australia and for the generations to come in Sri Lanka. Thank you and enjoy the proceedings. Thank you. Just to start this morning, I'd like to welcome our leader from the Sri Lanka Association. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Sri Lanka Association President, Yasoja, dear Alvis.
Thank you, Duke. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome all to our event. I am Mrs. Yasoja Dialvis, President of the Sri Lanka Association of New South Wales. On behalf of myself and my committee, it is my great pleasure to warmly welcome Her Excellency Ms. Yasoja Gunasekera, High Commissioner of Sri Lanka to Australia, along with members of her esteemed staff. Her Excellency is distinguished and seasoned diplomat with an impressive 29 years career in the Sri Lanka Foreign Services. She has held key diplomatic positions in Jakarta, Dhaka, Guangzhou, the United States, and India. Her academic credentials are equally commendable, with degrees from Monash University in Australia and the University of Warwick in the United Kingdom. She also a proud alumna of Ladies College, Colombo. The Sri Lanka Association of New South Wales is truly honoured to host this special occasion, which serves to formally introduce Her Excellency and her team of the vibrant and diverse Sri Lankan community here in New South Wales. We believe that today's gathering will strengthen relationships and create meaningful opportunities for dialogue and collaboration between our community and the High Commission. We are aware that in the past there have been challenges in communication and access to support services. It is our sincere hope that this event makes a new beginning, a platform for open engagement, information sharing, and mutual support, especially for business, professionals, and individuals who may seek assistance from the High Commission. I am delighted to see such a wonderful guest turnout this morning. It's truly heartening to witness the unity and enthusiasm of our community in welcoming our distinguished guests. I hope today will serve as a productive and memorable opportunity for our leading community organization to interact directly with the representative of the High Commission. Once again, I thank you all for joining us. We look forward to an inspiring and impactful event. Now, I am inviting Ms. Yasoja Gunasekera to address our guests.
Good question. So actually, I started off doing an LLB, and my parents were hoping I would become a lawyer. I went into the private sector for a little while. So I worked in places like Lever Brothers Colombo as a brand manager. I was at J. Walter Thompson as an English copywriter. And I'm from a family that has done public service over the years. And I wanted to do something that was not just about the bottom line. I find when you work for the private sector, of course, it's a very important part of a society. The private sector creates jobs. But I personally wanted to do something that helped lift people up. And it's been a very rewarding 29 years. And when we do this type of work, we meet other extraordinary people like my colleagues, who've also spent many years of their lives in public service. We are often not talked about much about what people do who do public service, but a lot of the time we are doing something for something which is much bigger than yourselves. At the end of the day, we're all working towards the welfare of a country, of a people, and it gives us tremendous satisfaction if we can do something that can give our people in Sri Lanka, our country, the type of respect that it deserves, the type of development. So that's basically what my journey over the last 29 years has been about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that. In fact, looked at your profile. One of the things I noted was the Brisbane 1988 Expo, and I hope you didn't remember me back then because I was at the stall creating a bit of havoc in there. So had some good friends in there out of that stall in 1988. So I'm glad your memory doesn't go that too far. So great to see you back in here. So with that said, in your view, how does the New South Wales Sri Lankan community contribute to the Sri Lankan economy recovery? How can that be done?
So, as I mentioned in my business capital of this country, and a number of you are in the business world, and even those of you who are not in the business world, you know people who could be useful to the country. And I'm basically, I just started off, this time 2 months ago, I still lived in Colombo. So as a career diplomat, you have to create a network very fast. We're like politicians in some ways, I'm here for a 3-year assignment, and then I go home, I have to maximize the time when I'm here. And of course, one of the ways in which you maximize your time is you find partners. And when we have such a successful Sri Lankan community as we do here, you know business people, you know political leaders. I want your help to create a network which we can use to benefit the people in Sri Lanka, rather than me going and finding each of these well-wishers. So much easier to work with your help, because you're here today because of course you all are Sri Lankan, you appreciate the fact that you have the Sri Lankan connection as well as your lives here in Australia. So I would love to have your partnership so that during the 3 years that I'm here, we can do something big for our country. I mean, this is a really important time to turn it around. I've worked for this country over the last 29 years through ups and downs. I think it was devastating when we had to declare bankruptcy. And I was Sri Lanka's ambassador in Jakarta when we did that. The headlines in Indonesia were always about bankrupt country X, Y, and Z. We need to all work together. This is the moment to make sure we are never in that situation again. We've recovered so well, but it's still very fragile. People's lives are very hard, but we can take that next step, and we can be much bigger. And we would never want to be as vulnerable as we were when we were on our knees.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, now, in your that sort of stands out that you can share.
Definitely the COVID pandemic. I think for Sri Lanka missions all over the world, we stopped everything else we were doing, and we were working purely on consular services. That included my team in Jakarta. You know, when Sri Lanka had no choice but to close its borders, when COVID was finally a pandemic and it was on its way home, there were Sri Lankans all over the world who were stranded. There were people who'd gone on holiday, people who'd gone on business, people who had people back in Sri Lanka they needed to connect with, and there were no flights. And we had to, every mission was basically fighting to ensure we were able to get some repatriation flights. We were able to get 2 from Jakarta, and until those repatriation flights came, we had to ensure that we looked after the people who were stranded, because some of them, obviously you go on holiday to some place, you don't go with a lot of money in hand. So there were people in difficult situations, you know. The team had to help, in some cases, deliver dry food products to some of them who were really stranded. So I think that was a moment we got a lot of support from the community also. In every community you have those unsung heroes. I mean, I remember one particular family, they didn't want their names told to anybody, but they basically came and told me, if you have anybody who needs to get back to Sri Lanka and they don't have the money to be able to buy a ticket, you tell us, we can provide as many tickets as you want. And we had some wonderful people like that also to help us do the work that we did. And of course it was very rewarding. As a team, working together, it was completely unscripted moment. You know, all of your training doesn't prepare you for the first pandemic in our lifetime.
Yeah.
You know? So all of us had to sort of figure out how to deliver during this period, and it was very satisfying at the end of the day when we got a lot of appreciation from the community that we helped. And of course you don't always need the appreciation sometimes, as all if you know you all hold high positions. Sometimes if you know you've done something good, it gives you a lot of satisfaction.
Thank you. We talked about your service and many places that alienated to you. So you've been here, you've at Monash and different places. Is there, and different challenges in different countries, you know, pose challenges and those assignments. What challenges do you envisage in your current posting? Is there anything that you might think is a challenge?
Well, one of the challenges is it's such a big country,
Yeah.
And we have opportunities all around the country, and we have Sri Lankans all over the country who we would like to get to know, but it's not that easy for us to travel around the country. You know, we're very conscious at the moment of budgets. You know, Sri Lanka is still recovering, so the government is very, very conscious of spend. So it's not going to be as easy as I would like to be able to travel and find all the opportunities that we'd like to find. So that's why I'll be working with the Sri Lankan communities around the country. I mean, in this day and age, you know, we can connect with Zoom, we can, you know, it doesn't have to be me necessarily going to places. It could be associations such as yourself sometimes, creating that profile for our country, organizing events that can help our country showcase what we have.
Yeah.
So I think that the fact that it will be difficult for us to travel as much as we would need to is going to be the biggest challenge.
Absolutely, you hit it there. It is a huge country. You know, if you want to go to Sri Lanka, for the first 5 hours, you're still in Australia. And then you find, are we there yet? Yeah. Thank you. Now, moving on to the last one from my end. How could, I know you explained this in many different ways, but if there's any way that you can narrow it down. I mean, we're all here, and we're all here because of the love we have for the country, and that's what the whole thing is based on. No communities, no associations can change that. You know, it's just the heart that follows. And what we can do for our motherland, the motherland that made us what we are today, in saying that how could Sri Lankan community, that's us here, contribute to elevate Sri Lanka's image in Australia?
I think this is a moment, Duke, when we are being noted because we're now the 10th largest community. And when I interact with government leaders, they talk about the large Sri Lankan community. And obviously it's a multicultural society. The political leadership is also very interested in getting to know all the communities that make up this multicultural society. So this is actually a way to get visibility. I think what we should be doing is doing what, say, the Indian community around the world has done so well, work together in
Absolutely.
one direction
Yeah.
towards showcasing who you are, what you contribute to this country, what Sri Lanka has to offer, what we could be doing together. It's very important really for us to elevate the relationship with Australia. Australia is a long-standing partner, and there's a lot that we can be doing together. We need to be coming up with economic opportunities, particularly when we can engage together. Something we could be making and selling to the world, something where they can give us capacity building, and we could be making it in Sri Lanka. Some investments that could transform industries in Sri Lanka. In a developed country, they have technology, they have goodwill towards us. There's a lot of love for Sri Lanka in this country. And I think for that, of course, we have to thank the Sri Lankans who have contributed to this society. I mean, there's a lot of appreciation to Sri Lanka because you have already shown people in this country that you're playing an important role. So as the High Commission, of course, we would like to build on that. It's such a good opportunity for Sri Lanka to take its next step and finally get to where we deserve to be. So we as a High Commission team will, of course, do everything we can to take something back home.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. As I said earlier, mindful of time.
To Sydney. What I want to find out, we have sadly said that we closed the council journal in Sydney. What I want to find out, do you have any plan to come and not regularly, at least once a month, open a council journal service in Sydney to help the Sri Lankans in Sydney? Because the community in Sri Lanka and Sydney are quite big, more than 30,000 Sri Lankans, which there are people who can't travel to Canberra, stay home, make accommodation, all these things. Once a month or last Sunday of the month, if the local community groups and leaders are here, they're able to assist you. One of them can come down to the passport renewal, anything like that. I hope you can help us on that. Can you please address that?
Question. I think that that's something that we would be interested in actively looking at with such a small team. I mean, you're seeing my entire team here on the stage, other than one lady who I mentioned was not well and therefore couldn't come. With such a small team, it's difficult to do it once a month. But we would be very interested in seeing how we could do a mobile service. And for that, of course, we need some help from the community, starting off with a suitable place to have the consular service. And of course, maybe it might be useful to have some volunteers as well. I'm going to ask the team also to get involved. Maybe Mr. Abhiratna Manoj, would you like to also talk to this particular issue? Whether or not we need a little bit more, maybe we could have some volunteers to help us with some of the work. Manoj is really the hands-on man, so maybe we'll give Manoj the chance to speak first. Manoj, the Mukakariya.
අපිට මාසෙකට මාස දෙකක සැරයක් වගේ ඇවිල්ලා අපිට මොබයිල් සර්විස් එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා. ඒක කැමරා ඉදන් මෙතෙන්ද ලොකු ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් ස්ටාෆ් එකේ පොඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉන්නේ. නමුත් අපිට වොලන්ටියර්ස් ලයික් කෙනෙක් දෙන්නෙක් වගේ අපිට සහයෝගය දෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපිට ඇවිල්ලා ඒ අපේ පැත්තෙන් කරන්න ඕන දේ අපිට කරලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්.
Thank you, Manoj. Thank you, Matt.
I just want to stress one thing though. When it comes to consular services, one thing that is really important to communicate is that these are government processes that are same in various countries. It's really important to bring the necessary documentation. We have all this information on our website. I mean, even with passports that are being currently processed, we often find that if somebody submits all the necessary documentation, then the processing happens reasonably fast. Sometimes it gets delayed because somebody hasn't given us a key document. For instance, if you're processing a passport, a critical document is your birth certificate. So, you know, we've had people who have not presented the birth certificate, and then they're asking why the passport is delayed, because they haven't presented the birth certificate. Somebody recently who was complaining that his passport had taken time because he has dual nationality. He didn't give us a copy of his Australian passport. So if we're doing this type of service, we can really give a better service if we can communicate to the people who are likely to come that it's really important before you come to read our website. We have all the information. It's a little dense. We have some constraints about making it better. We've been looking at how we can improve the format in which we have produced this information on the website, but unfortunately we have certain constraints about making it more user-friendly. But everything you need to know about the documents are on the website. It helps if somebody reads them and comes with all the documents, because that will limit the amount of problems that can be created. But sometimes when somebody comes without one or two key documents, there are delays. I just wanted to contribute to that.
Thank you very much. Last week, and he's got a question. Harold Ramachandran, OAM, Australia.
Thank you, Duke. We share the same surname and studied at the same school. Excellency, my question is, you spoke about the business community uplifting Sri Lanka. And there are a lot of non-governmental organizations and charitable groups within our community here that's striving to do and uplift the country. Capacity build hospitals, provide better education for children around the rural areas. I was sitting here with Mangala, who was talking about scholarship at Inai and his friends and family too. And so does many of us here. Is there any way we can find the impact that groups like this doing back at home? And how can we liaise much better with the High Commission to coordinate those efforts as well, if that is possible? Thank you.
OAM, it's a great honor, and we're very proud of you. I think that it's really important for all of us to bring some of these things that people are trying to do individually together, work together somehow. So if there are people who want to do business activities or goodwill projects in Sri Lanka, one of the advantages of having a High Commission in Canberra is that we would have information about which government ministries would be the right partner to interface with. So particularly things like if you're trying to do, say you're trying to build a school somewhere, logically it would make sense to touch base with the education ministry, because they would know which communities are underserved and where there's a need for the type of assistance you're trying to provide. If you're trying to introduce foreign investor to Sri Lanka, maybe we could help connect you with the Board of Investment, because the Board of Investment would be able to then give necessary advice to the relevant person as to what can be done in Sri Lanka, what are the opportunities, what are the specific trust projects at this point in time. So we're always happy to talk to you about what we can do together. I know there's a lot of goodwill in this community towards the home country. I think that's one of the unique things about the Sri Lankans in Australia. You are still very much connected to Sri Lanka. I know you all go back home quite regularly. Some of you have a second home in Sri Lanka. So of course we're very happy to work with you and see how we can channel your good intentions into something tangible which can make the country more successful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Forgive my ignorance, but this is keeping to the theme, and it's a very simple question. You ask for connections, introductions, and so forth. So if we want to actually engage or introduce people who might want to help our motherland, what is that communication channel that you have for anyone to introduce?
I think that's a very valid question. Unfortunately, I'm managing without a PA right now. Logically, the correct person would be the PA. But our community person in our team is Captain Gunasekera. Captain Gunasekera, would you be prepared to be that person? So basically, when it comes to coordinating with the community, Captain Gunasekera has been the focal point in our team. Please feel free, you could write to our official email if that's something you all know, and maybe attention Captain Gunasekera, that might be easy. I know that there are complaints that we are not responding to the emails. We're doing our very best. I mean, you can see the human resource constraints we have here, and that's one of the reasons why we don't always respond as we could have if we had the original 17 staff. You know, we're really managing with limitations. But obviously this type of inquiry would be a priority for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Duke. Welcome to Sydney, Excellency. My question is arising out of an earlier question from Siva about the consulate in Sydney. I understand the reason for the closure, financial constraints and other reasons caused you to close the consulate in Sydney. But is there a possibility that you could open a consulate, and appoint an honorary consul to Sydney, who might be able to deal with part of the issues that arise? Now, for example, in Brisbane, for many years, we had an honorary consul. Mr. Swan used to be honorary consul for many years in Brisbane. Why can't the same be implemented for Sydney?
I think that's a valid question. I know Mr. Swan did a wonderful service over 30 years before he finally retired. And right now, actually, the government is looking actively at its policies when it comes to appointing honorary consuls in different countries. You recognize that the government is still somewhat new, and every government has to have its policies established. So we're actively working right now on trying to see whether we can appoint some suitable honorary consuls in Australia. At the moment, we don't have a single honorary consul appointed. The ones that were there before have retired in many cases. So this is something that we're currently studying with our headquarters. These are policy decisions, so of course it's not decisions we can take here in Canberra, but it does make sense to have a honorary consul in New South Wales. I think having a consular general may take a little longer, because of course, as you know, the consular general was closed at the height of the economic crisis, when the government didn't have any forex, and you need forex to run the missions. They had to close where they could. So we're still very, things are not back to full recovery, obviously. So wherever possible, we're trying to manage with the teams that we do have in place. I hear you. Give us a little time to work with the authorities in Colombo on this one.
Thank you very much. In New South Wales. So I'll pass it on to Rukshan Anthony.
Thank you. I won't take too much time. I just want to add to the same thing that two gentlemen talked about the Sydney consulate. I think you mentioned that if you have the place, volunteers here in Sydney, that could be possible for once a month or once every 2 months, whatever the frequency that you can come up with. The Sydney Cultural Forum in New South Wales, we have the facility actually available. I believe this is the only facility in New South Wales Sri Lankan community. There's a Sydney Cultural Centre in Seven Hills. I can actually propose and talk to the team, and if we're looking for a place like that, because I think the community needs that the service, so we can actually have a discussion about that in terms of that place. So that's one suggestion I can come up with. And also, just one question I want to ask. We, in the Sinhalese Cultural Forum, we run community language schools. We just want to ask you, because during the time we were looking at introducing our mother tongue, Sinhalese from our point of view, and Tamil, I think as well, into the syllabus of Australian community and Australian education system. Just want to ask you, what support can we get from you, Excellency, in terms of that, introducing our mother tongue to Australian syllabus?
A proposal that you are thinking of having both our national languages, Sinhala and Tamil, being offered for Sri Lankan children to be able to study here. Can you leave that with us for the time being? I think we need to check with the Education Ministry exactly what type of suggestions they might have for us, because sometimes when it comes to language training overseas, they may be able to help us in some way with information. And when it comes to the cultural center, I think that's a very interesting idea that you already have a cultural center. The only thing that I would need to be sure about is that all Sri Lankan communities feel comfortable coming to that space. Because of course the government of Sri Lanka works on behalf of all Sri Lankans. So we just need to be sure it's a place where everybody from all our communities that make up our country feel happy in that space. We'd certainly be happy to have a look at the community center and see whether that would be a suitable place to do this consular camp.
Sri Lanka Association. Thank you.
Thank you, Duke, and good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Sri Lanka Association of New South Wales, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you for being part of today's very special luncheon in honor of Her Excellency Yasoja Gunasekera, our new High Commissioner of Sri Lanka to Australia, and her distinguished team. Your Excellency, and we are deeply grateful for your presence and your time here with us today in Sydney. Your leadership brings new hope, and we look forward to working closely with you in strengthening the ties between our community here and our beloved Sri Lanka. A sincere thank you as well as to the various community organizations who took part in today's beautiful lighting of the traditional oil lamp ceremony, a proud reflection of our unity in diversity. Mr. Jabir Kader, President of the Australanka Muslim Association, Mr. Rukshan Anthony, President of the Sinhalese Cultural Forum of New South Wales, Mrs. Malini Gunawardena, representing Ladies College, Mr. Anton Fernando, President of the Australian Tamil Chamber of Commerce, our partners supporting this event, Indika from Silonia Catering, thank you for the delicious Sri Lankan hospitality on the plate, to the dancing school and coming out with drummers and welcoming Her Excellency. To DJ Ross, thank you for the smooth audio visuals. And to the Joseph Eranga from Aussie Vibes, and for capturing the energy and elegance of the day through photo and video. Thank you. Our thanks also to Hornsby Council for the use of this wonderful venue. To our working committee members, thank you for your continued service to SLA and the community. And finally, big thanks to our Master of Ceremonies, Duke Ramachandran, our own committee member, for guiding today's proceedings with grace and professionalism. Let's continue the spirit of unity, collaboration, and purpose of peace support our High Commission and work towards building stronger bridges between Australia and Sri Lanka. And now, in appreciation from the Sri Lanka Association and the wider Sri Lankan community in New South Wales, we would like to present a plaque to Her Excellency as a token of respect, gratitude, and warm welcome. May I call upon all SLA committee members to come forward and presenting this plaque, and after that we would like to take a photograph, group photograph. And thank you.
Gentlemen, we're going to propose a toast. Your Excellency, we extend to you heartfelt welcome. We trust that your journey here in Australia will be marked by meaningful partnerships, memorable friendships, and moments that reflect the warmth of both our people. In you, we see not just a representative of Sri Lanka, but a steward of connection between our two great nations. And we are truly delightful to have you among us. So let's raise our glasses, ladies and gentlemen, to Excellency Yasoja Gunasekera, to a success, a vision, and a time here with us. Yes. Cheers. Can we also have the past presidents for a photo, please?